Welcome back, lovely people, to the Sisterhood in Session podcast. I'm already having a gorgeous chat with today's guest. We've been in each other's worlds for quite some time. I was trying to think how long it might be, and we can talk about this in just a second. But she's become a really lovely friend, someone that I recommend highly, and I can't wait to share her story with you. Agapeda, you are very welcome, lovely lady.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. Indeed, I have been looking forward to this conversation.
Uh,
Um, but for those that don't know me, I'm Agnieszka or Aga, founder of Born to Click, visibility strategist and marketing consultant, which I guess is a fancy way of saying that I make sure you show up when people search for what you do and choose you, not your competitor. I've been in digital marketing for 17 years, started out managing global presence for brands like Hyatt, Hilton, Intercontinental, and now I bring that big brand strategy onto small businesses and ambitious entrepreneurs.
And you're amazing. You're so good at what you do. And yeah, it's just a treat having you in my world, looking after us all. So obviously, there's a story behind all of this. And I know you've got some really juicy nuggets that you're going to share with us, and I can't wait. So tell us, my lovely, where in time are we going to start your story from?
Well, we will definitely start in Poland, as that's where I'm originally from. And I
Yes.
guess we will have a proper memory lane because I kind of want to get back to when I was a child.
Yeah, I love
As
that.
ever since I remember, I just loved learning. And every time I had a question, as you do as a child, I approached my parents, and most of the times they would say, "Go to your room, pick up the encyclopedia, and find what you're looking for."
Back in the
So
day when we had to learn from books, people.
that was Google back then.
Yeah, that's literally how it worked.
And maybe most kids would stop, but I actually was doing it. And very quickly I realized, I'm not going to wait for the answer. I'll just go and find it. I guess that was kind of like my research phase, research training before I actually knew it. Um, and then, knowing I was a proper bookworm back then, knowing how much I love learning, I went to study and I collected not one, but two master's degrees. I thought one will never be enough.
Why
Um,
have one when you can have two?
right. In marketing and management and tourism and leisure. And yeah, that was kind of my thing to learn to. Obviously, that was back in a day where digital marketing was not even a career just yet.
Yeah. Was this
So
back home in Poland, or had you already
yes,
moved?
that was back in Poland, and nobody handed me a playbook. I was just again learning theory and then implementing it, testing, failing, and then just trying to notice what kind of moves the needle. And I guess that kind of instinct never left me.
Yeah. And so when did you move to the UK? When did that happen?
So I was 27, if I remember correctly. I finished uni. I mean, that was not my first encounter because I was sent here when I was 17 for
Ah.
summer holidays. I stayed with English family for 2 months. And I just fell in love with. I remember that one day I was people watching around Oxford Circus, and all of a sudden this guy from Wild Wild West started walking the street, and I remember that bizarre moment. Am I just seeing him myself? Like, is no one cared, no one pointed him, like people just continued with their life. And I thought, okay, I like it in here. You can just be whoever you want, look however you want. Yeah.
London, I tell you, is the best for that. For people watching, you need to just go and grab yourself a table in a coffee shop,
Yeah.
and literally just people watch because, oh yeah, you're guaranteed to see to see
And
all
there's so
sorts of
many, I
things.
mean, even Camden, if you go to
Oh,
Camden,
I
there's
love
just,
Camden.
right? It's so unique. So
Yeah,
I think I fell in love with such a variety of characters and that kind of freedom.
yeah.
So fast forward, I was obviously talking about it since I was 17. And fast forward, graduated and thought I was working for a hotel back then. My contract was getting to an end. And I thought, maybe it's a sign, you were talking about it long enough. So I announced that I'm moving to London. And the best part was 3 days after, my brother decided that he's joining me on that journey.
Ah, so you didn't do it on your own.
No, which was
How did
which was
how
really
did your mum
amazing.
and dad feel though? Like both
Yeah,
of was it just you and your brother at home, or have you got other brothers and sisters too?
yeah, just us two. So you can
Oh,
imagine they were very happy because that's what they've been doing their whole life, encouraging us. I think they made my mind so curious and so hungry for knowledge. But at the same time, they were obviously sad because
yes.
we came here without knowing anyone and starting from scratch, which is, kind of like the ultimate visibility challenge.
Yeah, that's really brave did you literally just pack a suitcase, get on a plane, land? Where did you
Yeah.
head for? Did you head for London?
Yes, yes. So I managed to land a job before I came here. I was sending applications like crazy, had all of those phone interviews. So when we arrived, I already had a job secured. But indeed, like looking back, I didn't even think I wasn't scared at all. I just wanted to go for it. But indeed, you kind of land, no one knows you. Your, qualifications are pieces of paper. Your network is your suitcase. So
Yeah.
it's
Was your English strong? Had you learnt English at school? Was it easy to communicate when you arrived?
It was. I've never felt that. I know some people have that barrier. I've had a pretty. I mean, I ended up. My first job was in the reservation department, so I was picking up hundreds of calls every single day.
Well,
So
that
it
really
did.
helps, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember as well having that moment. My gosh, I'm talking English 24/7 right now. Well, apart from obviously going back home where, we were chatting with my brother in Polish, but the rest was full English. I mean, right now I even think in English. So that's
Yeah.
it
Oh, it's
changed.
almost become your first language. We've been here for such a long time now, so it's not a surprise. So reservations department, how long did you stay there for?
A bit over a year. And then I always wanted to get into marketing and kind of I knew that the best way, especially in hospitality, was through sales department. So my second job was a sales coordinator for Hilton. I think that is one of the kind of proudest and greatest memory, that job, because when I started 2 months in, I realized that no one is managing their social media.
Ah,
So I kind of thought, okay, let me just suggest that I'll take over and I'll just see what I can do. And of course, there was a lot of doubts across the room when I was suggesting that because back then I didn't even have my Facebook account. I was
what year was this? How far back are we going?
we're talking 13 years ago.
So social media looked quite different back then to what it looks like
Yes,
now, hey?
but everyone had Facebook, so I was a very late comer when it came to that. So obviously, I only existed on LinkedIn back then. So people, had their doubts, but I thought, you know what? Worst case scenario, if I fail, everything goes back to normal. So not being managed by anyone. But if I won't, you'll change my title. So fast forward 14 months in, I actually got a social media leadership award for that hotel, competing across 400 properties from 35 countries. And that was
Oh, wow.
the first moment when I thought, okay, I'm actually good at it.
I think I can do this. Yeah. I think I've got it nailed.
And
That's amazing.
shortly after, just for fun, and this is where, just go, I always say go for it. I entered Intercontinental Hotel. It was a blog story competition, and I also won. Never blogged in my life before. That was the first time ever I actually sat down and created that article. And I just thought, okay, I think I got it.
Yeah. Did you put yourself forward for these awards or did someone nominate you? You
I
put
did.
yourself forward.
I did.
I love that because I've done that as well. And anyone listening who is thinking, oh, I
Yeah.
wish I could get nominated for an award, self-nominate. Honestly, like pretty much all the award ceremonies for business,
Mhm.
you're allowed to self-nominate. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh, if only, just put yourself forward. It's that honestly, it's that, and no one thinks, no one thinks twice about it, because we all do it. Everybody does it. Don't wait for someone to nominate you if you can't back yourself, Aga, right?
Definitely. I mean, that's the best, you know. But when I was filling those applications, there were, I remember, a lot of questions as well to kind of show the path, the journey. But I was sending it, like I said, for fun or just to see, you know, what's going to come out of it. I did not expect that it's going to actually be chosen.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Also,
So
my
when did you have like a proper ceremony? Did you have to get dressed up and, or was it just you got a certificate in the post and you're like, yeah, you're
no,
a winner?
I got a proper award. I think there
Ah,
was even like some financial voucher of some sort. Yeah, it was very it was a proper boost, you know. It's something that you
ah.
want probably at the beginning of your career.
Yeah, that really does it propels you
Mm.
forward, doesn't it? When you're endorsed really early on.
Mhm.
Like you said, you know you're doing something right when someone says,
Exactly.
yeah, well done you.
Exactly. It was also just proving myself because like I had that theory, but I didn't have practice. So that kind of made me realize, okay, just stick to your gut feeling and you know, nothing can stop you now.
No, absolutely. So did that yeah, tell us what happened next. Did that propel you forward into your route to self-employment and your own business, or were there a few more steps along the way?
There were a few more steps, and each brand, each role brought something different. I've definitely expanded my digital skill set because I've touched, you know, from paid advertising to email marketing to social media to automations, everything. I loved it. It was a lesson. There were two very hard lessons to go through that kind of changed my perspective. One was when after COVID, you know, hospitality was hit very hard
Yeah.
as many businesses. And once we got back to full operation, I remember I was working insane hours, kind of trying to stay on top of everything. And that particular day, I was also waiting for very important news from my parents. I actually tested positive for COVID.
Oh,
I was still working, silly. But you know how it is like, you know, corporate world sometimes you
yeah.
deadlines, pressure, and you kind of power through. And at the end of the day, I was still in front of my laptop. My parents called, and all of a sudden, I found myself losing conscious. And I woke up on the floor
Oh,
to
Aga,
my parents shouting because
were
they
you on
didn't.
your own?
I was on my own. And what happened, I fell off the chair, hit my head really badly, and lost conscious for a couple of seconds, thankfully. But that is that was a proper wake up call because I always said, "Oh, health comes first." But somewhere along the way, I completely lost track of actually thinking about my own.
Yeah, sometimes we just pay lip service to that, don't we? We say the right things, but actually don't follow our own advice.
Yes, but that
Yeah.
made me question whether this is the career and the way I want to move forward.
Yeah, because
And
yeah, life is too short, and yeah, when you're putting yourself under that much pressure and that much stress and ignoring the warning signs, I'm sure your body was trying to tell you to slow
oh
down,
yeah,
as it always does. Our bodies have a great way of doing that.
yes.
When you're up against it, you ignore all the warning signs, and then sometimes, yeah, it can be too late. Oh, I'm sorry you
Hmm.
had to go through that. So, I mean, and you were on the call with your parents, so
I think that was even more scary that they've seen it and you
oh
know
my
that feeling
goodness.
of helplessness because
Yeah.
they're back in Poland and I was here. But for me as well to wake up, like you know, you lose control of your body and you're just thinking, what happened
Yeah,
exactly?
yeah.
But
Fainting is this because I have a history of fainting, and it's the scariest thing in the world. Like you say, it's like having some weird dream, like out of body experience. You feel like you're asleep, but you're not, and then you can't remember what's happened, and it's
Mhm.
very odd, isn't it? It's a
Yeah.
horrible thing to experience. Oh, but
But
hopefully, was it a one-off? You haven't, yeah,
yes, that was one of proper wake up call, you know, when it comes to looking after myself and
yeah,
just not listen. I guess, you know, it also comes down to people saying, oh, you have to hustle 24/7, you know, or I've had as well the most ridiculous comment saying, oh, you know, our generation was always pushing through. it's not about this is what happened because I was pushing through and not I wasn't listening to my body. So yeah, that was a
It's a
good lesson.
cautionary tale, isn't it? Like we said, to really, listen to yourself, and cut yourself a bit of slack because you
Yes.
can't do any kind of job if you're laid
No,
up, not looking
exactly.
after.
Without this working, there's no job whatsoever.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
yeah, so that was one tough lesson, and the second one was losing my job. I was working for a company. I was bringing a good revenue, but they hit a massive financial challenge,
Oh,
and it was family-owned business, and I was a non-family member on that side of the pond. It was a US company. So I was the first one to let go. And,
oh no, that's
you
hard. Did you
know,
see it coming, or was it completely out of the blue?
it was out of the blue. And back then it felt like the floor disappearing completely. Um,
Yeah. Were you living on
so
your own at that point, managing all your bills yourself? And yeah, that's a scary place to be, isn't it?
it is. I think that is, I don't say that people with partners or family have it better. That's not what I'm trying to say. But when you know that no one's coming to save you, that's even more scary
Yeah.
to just
Yeah.
realize.
But also, I think it shows your strength of character, um, when you're up against it like that, and there's no choice. You don't have a choice. You have to figure stuff out really
Yeah,
fast. Sometimes it can point you in the direction that you're meant to be going. Did you feel that way?
definitely. Because when it happened, obviously back then I didn't look at it as a gift.
No, because it's
But
so stressful. So
yes,
yeah, but reflecting back now, it
yes, it was
determines your future because you could have,
definitely.
you could still
It
be
was
there now.
these two situations. They were not setbacks. It was more redirecting my life. And so my parents as well suggested, well, you always talked about maybe having something on your own. Give it a go, have a look, see how it goes. So that's how Born to Click started.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
what year was this? Where are we now?
I mean, I fully started it February last year, but Born to Click was, I guess, on the table since COVID, because that's when I started as well expanding and learning more about coding, designing websites, just learning more about marketing. It's just back then I didn't know that this is what it's kind of
It was,
heading
you
towards.
didn't know where it was leading to.
No, no. So yeah, COVID time, but like fully in February last year.
Yeah. So tell us the story behind the name then, because there is a great story.
It is a great story. Do you know a series called Friends?
Yes, I think the whole world
Okay,
pretty much knows
so
knows about Friends, unless you're very young, in which case you might not have caught up yet, but
yes, but it's a brilliant show.
it
So
really is.
there is a character called Chandler.
Yes.
I'm Chandler because my family, my circle of friends, they still struggle sometimes to understand or know what I do. Some of them. And so my brother was always laughing. You just sit at home and click, and that's all you do all day. And so and we were giggling about it. And I went on a date and we were chatting, and I was trying to explain to the guy, what is it that I do? And I said that, oh, according to my brother, I sit and click. And he said, oh, so you were born to click. And in that moment, I thought,
No.
that is genius. I love that name. I have to check if the domain is free. And on my way from that date, I was actually Googling, checking if the domain was free. So, yeah, the date, there was no chemistry, but the name clicked straight away.
You two weren't destined for each other, but he gave you your business name. That's amazing. I love that story because I think anyone that runs their own business, we've all got stories behind how the names come about. The
Mhm.
name for the Sisterhood Networking Group came to me when I was walking my dog.
Exactly.
Yeah, and yeah, it can just pop into your head in all sorts of random
Mhm.
ways. And it's funny, isn't it, that he said that and immediately you thought to yourself, that's the name. That's the
It
one.
just it comes to you in the least expected moment.
Yeah, it
Like
really
you said,
does.
yes, no. But sometimes I think we're putting way too much pressure in trying to come up with that name.
That's also true. And on that note, I would say, if you're just getting started in business, it doesn't matter if you don't have a name to start
Mm.
off with. Because I didn't. I went along to my first networking meeting with nothing, like literally nothing. I just said to ladies, fancy some networking? Let's go to the pub. And they were all saying, like the minute we sat down, they went, what's it going to be called? I went, I don't know. And it wasn't until after that first meeting I took said doggy for a walk, and
Mm.
that's when the name popped into my head, and the rest is history, as they say. But yeah, you don't have to have it all figured out. So when the name came to you,
Mhm.
did you then immediately start plotting, planning, figuring out what it was going to look like? What happened next?
Very much so. I'm a bit of organizational freak. I love my spreadsheets.
Ah,
Yeah, that's me. Um, but I think, coming from that corporate, very hectic, I was usually the only person responsible for digital, coming from that background and all of a sudden applying it to your own business. I think at the beginning, I just had way too many things to offer. Um,
too
but
much in
again,
your shop window is how it's been described to me in the past. And that's a really good tip as well, is don't have too many things on the go because you just
yes.
confuse people and you confuse yourself.
Exactly. So there was a bit of a learning curve to it to
Yes.
just find. I also wanted to look at things I was responsible for from a fun angle. What I mean by that is, I guess, doing some things for so many years made me forget about that passion, that spark. So I wanted to bring it back
Yeah.
because when people, when I was chatting about certain channels, you could straight away feel my energy shifted and, there was this spark in my eyes. Whereas with Sam, it was, I can do it, but it doesn't bring me joy.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the decluttering when it comes to services on my side that I had to go through. And like you said, streamline and just provide. That is the I guess the foundation of what I do, bringing clarity. Because on many occasions we don't need more marketing, we don't need more platforms. We just need to know what works for us and how we can optimize it.
Yeah, it's so interesting you're saying about not feeling obliged, because I think that's another thing that business owners are guilty of is, depending on what your business genre is, there are certain boxes that you feel like you need to tick. And actually, that's the great thing about being a business owner is that you can be completely selfish. You can literally define what your business looks like,
Mhm.
and try not to listen to external voices, whether it be, people close to you or whether it be people
Mhm.
that you're watching online who maybe do something similar to you and you're watching it play out thinking, oh God, I really need to add this and I really should be doing this. And oh, they're doing that. So maybe I should add that in. And then
Mhm.
before you know it, you've got a lineup that's not really aligned to you,
Mhm.
certain things that don't, like you say, don't bring you joy, but you feel like you're obliged to have
Mhm.
them factored in. So I love that very quickly you filtered that all out and created a business that really worked for you.
I think that's how sometimes we should all do it, just it's easy. We know our business and we can look at our websites, 100 times and not spot that there might be something that needs clarification or tweak. But then when we put ourselves in our customers' shoes and just try to look through their eyes and their perspective, there's just so much we can pick up on. So,
Yeah. What about the transition from corporate to self-employed? Because it is so different, isn't it? Uh, were you surprised at the difference? Were you expecting it to be a certain way and it pan out slightly differently? How have you found that shift?
it's a great lesson. I look at these as, they're all lessons. But you're so right. There's so many things you don't think about when you work for someone. And um I've never, there's this Instagram reality versus reality. And that's how
Yes.
I kind of saw it, because here we are on Instagram, be your own boss. It's great. It can be for sure, but there's just so many challenges you have to deal with, from self-doubt to admin to bookkeeping to things like taxes that we don't think about when we work for someone.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden it's maybe 20% that you do what you love doing, and the rest is from client.
Wearing all the hats you don't want to wear.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
so true. And I think no matter how prepared you think you are when you
Mm.
start your own business, it's not until you're much further down the line,
Mhm.
certainly for me. Like, I'm 15 years business owner down the line now. And I don't want to scare anyone, but I only now really feel like I've got my shizzle together.
Mm.
And it's all a massive learning curve. And I think patience, asking for help, watching and learning. You can never learn too
Mhm.
much. I'm always still checking out people's work, people that know more than I do, because we
Mhm.
can never know everything. That's
No.
the thing. And I think as a business owner, you feel like you do or you should know everything, but you're never
That,
going to, are you?
exactly. And that's so important as well to highlight that it takes time. I
Yeah.
think nowadays people are used to that instant gratification and the results straight away. It doesn't work this way. You really have to put in work,
Yeah.
and eventually it will pay off. But it might not necessarily be, a viral sensation.
Sometimes you get lucky. You never know.
Of
But
course.
most of the time, you've just got to ride the wave as well, because that's the other
Mm.
thing, is that it's never linear, very rarely. There's some days you're going to think it's the best thing you've ever done. And then other days you're going to be crying into your pillow going, why did I think it was a great idea to leave corporate? I was crazy.
But
But I,
yeah, and that's fair as well. Like I said, there's just, unless you go through it, you won't know how you'll feel, how you'll perform. So yeah, don't overthink it.
Yeah. How do you find putting boundaries in place? Because I know a lot of self-employed business owners struggle with that. We do feel like we're in our business 24/7. Are you good at switching the phone off, putting the computer down? Oh. For those of you that are audio only, I can confirm that there's a little bit of a face being pulled now.
There's well, funnily enough, the last weekend was the first weekend since I can remember that I didn't open my laptop at all.
Wow. And it was February last year. So yeah, so 18
Um,
months, just over, yeah.
but that said, sometimes it's a quick email check-in, or you get a review, and I know how certain platforms or algorithm works, so I
Yeah, the
know.
thing is, you know too much. That's your problem.
So,
If you're your own worst enemy, because you know that the quicker we all know, the quicker we respond to things. So if someone, comments on your post or tags you in something, the quicker you respond to that, the more the social media algorithm likes it. So, and you know all of that. So
that said, when I'm with family or friends, my phone is in my bag, because I want to focus on them, on us just having a good time. So it's not that I'm online 24/7. I can definitely put boundaries on my private life.
yeah.
But it didn't come, you've asked about, I think the hardest thing was pricing and boundaries,
Mm.
because I had someone questioning my pricing very early on, as they found a business that was doing something similar. And it's very easy to fall into a trap of, "Ah, maybe I'll lower the price." But
Yes.
then I actually did a bit of homework, and I realized that the name of the service was the same, but what was actually included was completely different, from, the expertise and knowledge, quality of assets, reporting, and that clarity. So I just thought, you know what? I will not be for everyone, and that is fine too.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting point you've just raised, which reminds me of something, I think it was a post or something I watched or read. And probably many people listening to this may have seen it as well, which is I'm going to use a photographer as my analogy, but it works for any business really, is the amount of time and skill and effort that it takes to hone your business skills or your whatever it is that that you're earning money from. And that's the thing about pricing, isn't it? Anyone approaching you and inquiring about your services won't know that you have two master's degrees, that that you've put your time in working in corporate roles first, that you started your business from scratch, that you really do know your stuff. And it's the same, with a photographer. They start off just filming friends and family. They have to buy the camera, they have to invest in all the latest equipment, they have to spend all the time editing photos and what that looks like. So whatever your business is,
Mhm.
if someone, don't underestimate yourself, and always, obviously do your research with pricing, but don't undervalue your ability
Mhm.
to be able to share your wonderful skills with the world. And I love that you stood firm on that. What was the response that you did? I mean, did you go back to them and say, no, this
Oh,
is what?
I did, because you know what, I've been experiencing a bit of ghosting in business as well, and I don't like it at all, because I get, our mind can change, the circumstances can change, but just own up to it and say it out loud.
It's so funny because I've literally just posted about ghosting today on
Mhm.
social media. The one thing I hate in business more than anything else is when people ghost you.
Mhm.
I don't get it. Where you're communicating as adults. If you don't want to do something or you don't want to buy something, then just have the guts to go, thank you so much for your time, for the offer, whatever it is that you've put in front
Mhm.
of them. It's not for me, but I just wish you every success for the future. That's all you've got to say. That's it. It's
Exactly.
so annoying and
It
rude.
is.
I don't think you can excuse it
Yes.
at all.
No, no. It's integrity, But these people then, it's funny, it ties with dating. That's how they behave as well within meeting people, romantically speaking. So no, I always go back. I went back to that person and just you have to handle, and this is another thing, diplomacy. You learn it
Yeah.
because you want to be professional across the
And
board. So,
also, reputation is everything. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression.
mhm,
The way you leave someone and the way you make them feel when they
mhm,
deal with you, whether you work with them or not, people talk. That's what business is, and obviously networking, you want people to talk positively about their experiences with you, whether
exactly.
they decided to go ahead with you or not. So if you don't handle things in the right way, you and I can both go off and go, oh, so and so ghosted me. I wouldn't consider working with them again in the future anyway. And that, it's like Chinese whispers, isn't it?
But it's
Well,
and it's so powerful, and people forget about it. That people, we
yeah,
talk.
yeah, it's not that kind of thing. It's not the kind of thing that you're necessarily going to keep to yourself. If someone's left a bad impression, and I do think some people. They do think they're all that, some people,
Mhm.
that they're above you, that, I don't need to reply to you because I've got, I don't know, 15,000 followers. So therefore I don't need to dignify it with a response. But I always follow up. I'll reach out to someone once. And then if I don't, if they don't respond at all, I'll do it one more time and then the third time, and then that's it, I'm done.
Mhm.
Three strikes and you're out policy I have.
I love it.
But genuinely, I do appreciate people. Some people are busy. Messages get lost in inboxes. So just bear that in mind that, if you're contacting someone and you don't get an immediate reply, it could have just pushed down their
Mhm.
inbox. They meant to reply, but they forgot. I'm a serial offender with that one. So if you're listening and you've ever messaged me and I haven't replied, please message me again. So sometimes it can genuinely be that you've fallen out of their head or their memory and they genuinely meant to reply. So that's why I do always send a second and potentially a third message. If you get to the third message and they haven't replied, then that really is rude.
That tells you way more
It
than you
really
need
does.
to hear. Mm.
It really does. So talk to us about what your business looks like now, because obviously, starting it up in February last year, all these lessons that you've learned, this crazy roller coaster that you've been on, like we all have been. What does Born to Click look like now?
Those bad dates.
And
Um,
those bad dates, yeah.
so right now there are two sides of the business. One is services, so the work I provide for you. We look at the digital presence. So the most in-demand service that I currently have is the Google Business Profile Management and Optimization. This aside, there's websites. I love auditing websites and just telling you what can be improved. Um, Also management, and then strategic consultations, because like I said, on many occasions we know what we do, we know what we want to do. It's just that clarity in terms of where should we post, what should we post about, what kind of strategy to choose. So that is one side. And the second side, if you want to do it yourself, there's a beautiful step-by-step framework I put together, a visibility system that has now 3 editions. So the first is Google Business Profile, the second Instagram edition, and today launching website edition.
Can I
No,
just say, again, for those of you that aren't watching and you're just listening, she's just got the biggest smile on her face. And how much you love your job. I get
oh
it's
my
just,
gosh.
yeah, the way you talk about it, you can tell how much it lights you up, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
You
Finding
know
your
what?
thing.
Yeah, and when people have these, oh, okay, this is how it works moments, I love it. I love seeing people uh, confident in managing their presence, looking at their websites and knowing it's working. It brings me so much joy. So whether they want
Yeah.
to work with me or whether they want to do it at their own pace, the website edition I split it into coffee chats, because whether you have 5 minutes or 15 minutes, there's something you can take and implement today, and that will strengthen your position online. So yeah.
You got everybody's bases covered. I love it. I love it so much. What does
It all depends as well where you are in your journey building your brand. So
Yes,
try
of
to
course, because everyone,
accommodate.
yeah, we're not obviously all at the same stage.
No,
Um,
but I came across, even via your network, I've met so many incredible women with, their work is incredible. They're absolutely rocking what they do, but they're invisible sometimes.
yeah.
That's what is frustrating for me, because I don't want that. I want them to be unforgettable.
Yeah, and that can be one of the biggest challenges, I think, as a business owner is your visibility.
Mhm.
And it's trying to have all the bases covered, isn't it? Being visible
Exactly.
everywhere. You can't just be on one thing. It's not enough just to have a website or just to have a social media presence. You
Well,
need to,
I like to challenge that, and that's why I kind of put it together to bring that clarity to, not to add onto your plate. And I don't ask you to dance on TikTok at 6 a.m. It's more like there's no
well,
jargon.
that's disappointing.
I mean, if you want to,
I know you want to
if
do
dancing is your business,
it.
but no overwhelm, just that clarity, no jargon, because I think there's also so much of it, so that you
Just
have that.
simplifying it so that it's suitable for whoever it is that you're working with, which is really
Yes, and
lovely.
you don't need marketing degree to understand by the end of reading it what needs changing or where you can actually source information, because right now obviously we live in a information rich world, but it's easy to get lost and confused.
Yeah.
So I just
Um,
that.
I have to ask you, and this is coming up a lot, but it's the world that we live in now,
Mhm.
unfortunately, is AI and how that's impacting you, the work that you do, the clients that you're bringing in. Is it something that worries you that your business in the future and where it's heading? Because presumably what you do is potentially at threat of, you know, the robots taking over. I'm just pulling a really. Funny face.
We're doomed. No, I'm
We are
joking.
doomed. I swear
I,
to God.
so there are two actually point of views that I have, which is one more business focused, the other one is personal life. I think business wise, I use AI, but I use it wisely. What I mean by that, I use it for research or tasks where I would like to speed things up rather than
That's what I do.
spend hours.
Yes, exactly that.
However,
There's a
when
caveat.
businesses go online and ask, please generate me a content, they have
Don't
to be
even.
aware that that content is generic.
Yes.
And I think now even more, we will realize that we want to see that human behind the brand. And there is a human behind every brand. So we are getting frustrated with chat boxes, with AI assistants, because they don't know our business the way we do. So I would say, of course, use it, but keep in mind that that personal touch, that connection will not go away. We will definitely need it. That is more kind of business. The private one, I think it's a bit sad that it's taking over, right? It's influencing, interfering with our relationships. A couple of weeks ago, I've been targeted with ads selling AI apps for therapy and for relationships.
Oh God.
And I just
God.
think, me as a digital marketer, straight away, I think there will be people signing up. There will be people feeding in very personal information, but you don't know who is on the other side.
No, and what they're doing with that information. There was some research done recently about youngsters who maybe are struggling with dating, forming meaningful relationships, now finding themselves having a virtual girlfriend. And I find that really scary and
It's very
disturbing.
scary and very sad
It is very sad that,
because
that the next generation aren't going to enjoy all the lovely things that being in an actual physical relationship can bring. Yeah, it is very sad.
But
But
even from, networking point of view, like
yeah,
meeting people,
yeah,
we are social animals. We need
yes.
people
We
around us.
crave human connection. That's literally, it defines us.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm not going to lie that I'm very grateful that that's my business and that we will always want human connection. And I don't think
Exactly.
I need to be worrying, but just, yeah, I think balance in every aspect of life.
Yeah.
And I compare, when you think back to when McDonald's first arrived on our high street. And do you remember how everyone got so excited about it? We were all having McDonald's parties when we were kids. It was the best. It was so exciting. When your parents said we're going to go to McDonald's at the weekend, we'd all go, "Yay, that's amazing!" Now I can't remember the last time I went to McDonald's. I avoid it, and my children are also educated to avoid it as well because we know now
Mm.
that fast food isn't good for us, that ultra processed food we need to avoid, and the impact that it has on us as human beings. And I think it's going to go the same way with AI, that right now everyone's going, oh my God, it's amazing. It's making my life easier and I can get all this stuff done so quick. Like we've said, virtual relationships and bots taking care of things for us. And I do think we will come full circle again. I really hope that we do.
I think so. And you kind of hit the nail because it all comes down to education and
Yeah.
our awareness.
Yeah.
And I think we will start seeing how it can affect us. I mean, I'm seeing already so many businesses generating posters with AI.
Don't even get me started on
Because
that one.
they are all the same. And it kind of reminds me back of a trend when there were filters and every woman looked exactly the same
Yeah.
online.
Yeah. You
So
don't
I
want to be the
thought,
same as everybody else. You're you. You're unique. You do what you do differently to everybody else, and you need to stand out from the crowd. That's the thing with marketing, isn't it? Don't
mhm.
don't be a sheep. Please don't be a sheep. Be
Yeah.
you, because you're amazing. Oh my God, we could have like a whole other podcast just about AI. But
We need a new episode.
we need another episode. We have pretty much run out of time, my lovely. I have to say, because I always say that if I'm popping someone's podcast cherry, I always announce it, and it is your first podcast, and it's been so brilliant chatting to you. You're an absolute natural, and I'm sure you'll go on to do many more interviews. I really hope so. It's been such a treat to chat to you. But before I let you go, I've got to ask you my two questions that I ask everybody that comes to be a guest for me. So, question number one to you, lovely lady, is there one thing you wish you'd known before you became a business owner?
So I was obviously I do listen to your episodes, and what a
Which makes
surprise!
me very happy because I
What a
genuinely don't
surprise!
know whether, whether anyone I know listens to them. So,
Um, so I guess I'll have a slightly different answer, as I think we all go through very same challenges or things that we wished we knew. I told you I've never expected anyone to come and save me. That was pretty early that I realized. But I guess what I didn't expect is kind of how much power you have from it.
yeah.
And what I mean by that, when you land a dream client or you succeed at something, it is all owned by you, entirely by you. You cannot say it was down to luck or your boss training you or your team. So when you start feeling that, you never want to kind of let go of that feeling. But what you have to realize is very quickly establish when you want to say no to either advice that is not relevant to your business or to hours that are not worth spending, and look at your responsibilities and see which ones you can delegate, which ones you can automate, and which ones you can drop entirely.
Yes. Yes,
So,
I love that. The power of the no. And I think that's very difficult when you first start out in business because you feel obliged to say yes to everything. What if I say no to them and they go and tell their friend that I said no, and then they tell someone, and then like we were saying, the Chinese whispers. But it is okay to say no if it's not the right client for you, they're not serving you in the right way, whatever it is you're saying no to, it's
yeah.
okay.
And it's exactly, it doesn't, you just then become a version of someone else's vision of you, not yourself. But also going solo doesn't mean you're alone. When you expand your network and you know what people you want to have around, because they are your circle.
Yes.
Um, and circle that through many incredible business owners like yourself, that is what matters. And yeah, not to lose your voice.
Yeah, I love that. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. And can you leave us with a final top tip?
That will be definitely the kind of motto I lived through the last 15 months, which is get out of your comfort zone as many times as it's humanly possible, because
Yes.
that is where growth lives. And, for me, that was networking.
Uh,
I remember, oh my gosh, networking used to be my biggest nightmare when I was back in the corporate world.
yeah.
And your group was the first one I actually attended.
Aww,
February
very
last
lovely
year.
to hear.
But yeah, it's amazing to see what transformation you go through, or I did throughout that 15 years of getting and living out of your comfort zone. And while you do these things, doing things that scare you, things that you thought were impossible, make sure you also keep proof of that. What I mean by that, lovely messages from clients, emails that you've changed someone's life, business. Call it, big click energy, or, when in doubt folder, because you're on your own most of the time when you grow your business. It's very easy to, when you win something, it's great, you feel amazing. But when self-doubt hits, and it will,
Mm.
this is where you go open that folder and go through your messages and realize that self-doubt lies, but that folder doesn't. So
Ah, that is such a great tip. I haven't got a folder. I need a folder. I'm going to go and create a
I'm sure
folder.
exactly, you have so many messages, I'm sure, and or whether it's a picture of you, winning
Yeah.
awards. That
Ah,
that is
that
something
that
to
is a
keep.
really, really lovely top tip, and I don't think I've had that one before.
Oh,
Yeah, it is so important to reflect back on your wins and your successes, because as a business owner, we do spend so much time working on the business, that it can be hard
Mhm.
to, take that time to reflect, to pat yourself on the back and go, do you know what? I am doing a good job. People do love what I do, and, having, keeping those testimonials, making sure you share them as well. Don't just keep them to yourself.
Exactly. And
Um,
it's so
yeah.
easy to take it for granted because we just think, oh, okay, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal.
It
So,
is a big deal.
yeah.
You're a big deal. Everyone that runs their own business is a big deal. If you're even considering starting your own business, it's a big deal, and you are officially amazing. Thank you so much for such a brilliant chat. I've loved getting to know your story, as I'm sure everyone else has too. Before I let you go, could you just tell everybody, if they want to come and search you up online, where do they go?
Of course. So my website is called Born to Click, exactly how you hear it, borntoclick.com.
Yes.
And over there, you can see ways to work with me or the visibility system. So that framework step by step, where you can purchase different editions.
It's fantastic. It's just, as I said at the start, so lovely having you in our community. You are so generous with your time and so complimentary to everybody. Genuinely, it's a joy to have you around. Thank you so
I
much.
always say, ladies, I have Facebook, Instagram. We do also meet online or in person. I'm always up for a chat. It doesn't have to be marketing related. It can be about best spot in town for tiramisu. So reach out. And yes, thank you so much for having me, Sarah.
No, absolute pleasure. Wishing you every success for the future. And I'm sure I will see you again very soon. Thank you so much. Bye.